Yo, what's up with it? It's your boy Young Bleed, Carly Young, man. Chilling out here in Indiana, man. My partner all the way from St. Louis. You know, we doing it live for Midwestmixtapes for the 215. Y'all stay in tune. I got the new label on the way called Trapdoor Entertainment. That's going down. I got a new EP in the mix called The Legend of Bleezy Rallo. And I'm going to follow it with a solo album called All American, man. So, you know, that's what's popping. Welcome to the Trap compilation for Trapdoor Entertainment. All the artists that's coming up with me, man. Carly Young Family and Beyond. A movie in the works right now called Ryan of the Kingpin with a lot of my Detroit partners out. You know what I mean? Out there in the Detroit, Michigan area, man. Shouts out to Kamal, Miley, you know what I mean? Madam Meek is going down, man. So y'all stay tuned. Your boy been busy. I'm finna put it in your face. Yada.
Yeah. What's up, Mr. Young Bleed?
What's good with your family?
Man, my balls and my word. That's all I got.
Yes, sir. Right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Ride or die.
Hey, man, you a straight up Southern legend, bruh.
Yes,
like
sir.
you definitely around these parts, man. Who that?
Who said they won't do that, man?
You know,
run up your wheel to get your ass with blue black, man. 20 years, 18 years later, to be exact, man.
Big. That's a big record, man. Like,
yes, sir.
Man, I know you probably had the question hundreds of millions of times by this point in your career, man. But
yeah,
like, how'd that record come about, man? Like,
we was talking some West Coast earlier, man. I tell you the true story to that record. Shouts out to the OG King T, man, out of Compton, man, Los Angeles, California area. I had yet to meet. He one of the few legends that I got yet to meet that I listened to and I was digging. At the time, he put out an album called Act the Fool, man, in the 90s, you know what I mean? So I was digging that record, and the concept coming to me about doing the song, particular track was in my head, and I felt like everybody gonna say once they hear this song, it's really called, they gonna say it's a fool. So that's really the original origins of how you do that. But the hook was, you know, with everybody, you know, worldwide known, know what to say is, you know, I got them hollering how you do that there. So it's more like a questionnaire. Everybody took to that. I did a solo version. Shouts out to my man, C-Loc, of course, you know, Nathan Happy Perez, you know what I mean, platinum Grammy producer, man, Mexican guy from out of H-Town. Was living in Louisiana at the time, working with a group that I was coming up with by the name of Laylo. So he was actually their producer. We got together, put our heads together. Okay. I had an idea for a joint. Like I said, that I originally titled "The Fool." That we sampled a Parliament sample, man. Song called "One of Those Funky Things."
Okay.
I used some Aretha Franklin, you know what I mean, the Rock Steady, and Earth, Wind and Fire, you know what I mean. I put all that together with some old school kind of hip hop drums, and we you know, collaborated between the music works of it, and he did a few keyboard tricks, you know, the famous whistle in the song, you know what I mean, a high-pitched whistle, Happy Perez, man. So the rest was pretty much history. Master P was working, of course, with No Limit Records, True Records, Free C Murder, Free Mac, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. Rest in peace, let's go on, Mr. Magic, Soldier Slim, you know what I'm saying, Ed the Assassin, Trey H, you know what I mean. So, you know what I mean, shouts out to No Limit and to the new No Limit. But saying that to say this, P was working on that Body movie at the time, and was collaborating with our CEO at the time, C-Loc from C-Loc Records, and got wind of what we was doing, and obviously, you know, loved the joint and offered to do a remix with it, you know. P was at the top of the world, you know what I mean, it still is to some degree, you know what I mean, to this day, but was a perfect outlet for us, what he had going on between the South, New Orleans, and surrounding areas, and of course out there in California with Priority Records. So he took the record to Priority for us, and the rest history. We remixed it, me, C-Loc, and Master P.
That's some real history right there.
Right. World famous video, you know what I mean, MTV, BET, #1, you know, I know the Body soundtrack was either platinum or double platinum by the time I released in 97, summer of 97. I followed it up with the solo All I Got in This World Is My Balls and My Word in 1998. I think it come out.
Yeah, Last Outlaw, man, that was one of my favorite records on that joint.
Hey, actually, that's my favorite joint on the joint, you know what I mean? I love how you do that, but
Young Guns is one of my favorite movies.
Man, that's what it is, the whole bit of the kid syndrome, you know what I mean? So that's one of my favorite joints. Like I said, that joint come out like January 22nd in 1998. By February 7th, it was official gold. So the following off that alley-oop from the Body soundtrack on it to my solo debut into the world more rap. So yeah, real life, real talk, real history. Ready.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, what happened after you dropped the second album? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, my own.
That's correct.
Yeah.
What then? Our next thing I seen you was with Sibo out there
Right.
from Sacramento. How'd that come
Right.
about?
Well, actually, after releasing those 2 records, there's a few things going on between companies, big dogs, middle dogs, and everybody included. And they kind of shook everybody kind of apart, man, for us, whatever reasons everybody had individually. I was kind of in the bind of waiting it out, whatever their legal situation was before I could release my 3rd record. I was actually recording that 3rd record entitled Vintage, come out like 2002. But in the freeze of priority, when they had the merger with Capitol Records, so on and so forth, I always one of the guys in the mix. So to preserve myself more or less, I left the label and went back independent, and went through Selecto Hits in Memphis, Tennessee, put out 2 albums. One was called, which would have been my 3rd solo record, The Priority to the World. It's called Vintage. Then I followed it up with a Clickalation album, opened a label called Detention Home Entertainment, and birthed my clique, the Corleone family, with that particular album. So it's more like a compilation record with all the artists that was up and coming with me from the southern region throughout the world, you know what I mean? After that, within the midst of that, I had the opportunity to work with the late, great Mr. Magic, you know what I'm saying? And we ended up doing our smoke, our drink joint, and going to actually the body here for a little while with Roy Jones. And shout out to Roy Jones Jr., man, middleweight champion of the world.
You was on that record?
Yeah, I was on. I'm the first guy on that record. Actually, it's Magic record, but it's the first time I did a song where a guy actually started the song with his verse in the middle of the song.
Man, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I ain't even the radio type, man.
Right,
so there's my excuse. But yeah, that's what's up though. I know what record you talking about. That was a big record.
Right, that record evolved pretty much how you do that before the radio. All the country towns, streets with backwoods and one school in them. Anywhere we went in Louisiana, Mississippi, surrounding areas, and eventually a bubble. It was a high record and evolved, like I say, just like the how you do that record off the street. Everybody was loving it, so we knew we had a nice record. So the Slim was aiming to be on that record, rest in peace. But I think like the night after we recorded that next day, unfortunately what took place with Slim took place, you know what I mean? So Lil Boosie ended up being on that record. Shout out to Lil Boosie, my little cuz off the G Block, Garfield Street, you know what I mean? South Baton Rouge. You know what I mean? Baby LA, that's what we say, you know what I mean? So, he finally home, but before all that, all was when it took place over time, before he went to Angola State Penitentiary, we made that record when he was evolving at the same time. So that became a hot record for all of us. Like I said, Roy picked it up and put it out on a compilation called Body Headbangers for his label, the Body Headbangers on Roy Jones Jr. So that bubble, in the midst of that, getting to what you asked me, I was in the studio with a cousin of mine by the name of Brent Dixon, do a lot of work with Chuck D from Public Enemy and, numerous artists around the world. And we was working on a particular project, and he bought me a Murder Dog magazine, and it had a picture of Yuck Mouth and Sibo standing back to back. And they asked Sibo a question in the magazine, who were some of the up-and-coming artists that he had liked to work with. And I was one of the names he mentioned, so I always been a Sibo fan, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Gas Chamber.
Gas Chamber, off the rip. So from there, I was like, yeah, I got my people and say, man, find Bo, see what he had. I like to work with Bo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With him having West Coast Mafia, coming off of AWAR Records and all that at the time, it was a perfect suit for me with the Corleone family and everything we was doing. That was kind of mafia based, you know what I mean? So that was a perfect link, you know what I mean? 2 old legends, one from the West, one from the South, more rather. So long story short, man, I got together with Bo maybe a month or so after that, and I think he was doing a little penitentiary time, man, called me from the pen. And, we chopped it up about future plans and what we'll do once he touched down. And maybe the following year, I moved to Texas in like 2004, November 4. I know that because I went to jail. Spent the night in Denton County, man. So, my welcome to Texas. Come on vacation. You wind up on probation. It's a true statement, you know what I mean? So, here again, long story short, me and Bo talked on the phone several times. I had the opportunity to get back out into the California West Coast section and make a deal with West Coast Mafia for, a couple of albums. And The first album I was working on under the West Coast Mafia lines was an album called Rise Through the Ranks from Erna the Capo, you know what I mean? Volume 1. So that's the first time me and Bo actually did a record together called You Know I Know, that's on that record in particular. And what I tried to do with that was branch here again from the roots on up, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, everybody that had been down with me independently for years, and whatever majors along the way, you know, bigger name artists, more rather. And collectivize and have something going on, at least in each state, you know, knowing somebody, you know, either up and coming or somebody powerful enough to help me carry on. So, here again, long story short, man, when that record was being mastered, I believe Bo was coming home on that particular day, so he come home, approved the record, everything was everything. A month or so after that, he was in Texas with a tour bus ready to roll, you know what I mean? So that's how we got down my first encounters and meet and greet with C-Bo, man. We've been rocking together ever since, man. So shout out to Big Bro, C-Bo, West Coast Mafia, Thug Love from Young Bleed, you know what I mean? Already. Yeah, man.